and will be done. Ladies and gentlemen, God bless the Commonwealth of Virginia. God bless each and every one of you. God bless these United States. I'm happy to answer any questions. Yes,
sir. Well, Mr. Chilhowie, Mr. Griffith, also you've been very good. First time I've met you. That's the first time I've seen you. See your picture in the paper. I've seen your picture. See you at the SWVA.
yes, sir.
I'm Earl Gillespie, a retired Air Force Chief Master Sergeant, 30 years active duty. Also retired 10 years civil service from the Navy and the Air Force. I have 3 questions. Now, you've answered part of this question here. You've answered part of all 3 questions
Yes, sir.
that I'm going to ask.
Yes, sir.
The first question is, during the last 55 years, that's my bill of life. I'm 65 years old, but I only go back 55 years. The vast majority of Democrat and Republican politicians have just about destroyed America. So, what makes you better than the vast majority of the politicians? And you stated some of
Let me rephrase the question, or restate the question so everybody can hear. The question was, in his adult life, he's 75 years old, and so he's only counting 55 years as part of his adult life. What makes me better than the other politicians? And I have to answer you truthfully. All I can tell you is I'm a fighter. I stand up for what I believe in. I'm not perfect. I know that every politician, has their pluses and their minuses. And all I can do is tell you that I am ready, willing, able to try to go to Washington and make a difference. There's 435 members of the House. We've got to have a significant number of people who come in who feel the same way I do, that we're at a brink of a point where if we don't do something now, the United States of America will forever be changed in a negative fashion. I believe passionately, if I'm only a 2-year congressman, so be it. I believe passionately that now is the time to stand up and fight in the halls of Congress for what you fought for what you fought for, and for what I believe in. And we all know that if we don't do something now, we only have ourselves to blame. And I don't want to be a part of the problem. I want to be a part of the solution. So I know that if I don't do something now, I'm a part of the problem. I will have part of that blame. I want to go to Washington to try to make a difference so that each and every one of us can look back later and say, we did our part to save the United States of America that we all love.
Well, you just answered part of my question there, because my next question was, do you support term limits on politicians? Say 3 2-year terms for House of Representatives and 2 6-year terms for senators, yes or no? You said you supported term limits because you said it's 2 years. Okay. Now, my part of this
I don't want to mislead you.
Okay.
I said we'd agree. I said we'd agree on some things. We disagree on some
All right.
things.
Do you support term limits?
I do not support term limits. I believe that the elections can take care of it. But more importantly, I also will tell you that while I am not against term limits in concepts, as a former member of the National Conference of State Legislatures Executive Committee, that's a lot to say, but that's a panel of state legislative leaders, and we look at all the other states. A lot of states adopted term limits. And what ended up happening in a lot of those states were the bureaucrats ended up running the show, because if you only had somebody there for 6 or 8 years, by the time you got the seniority to start kicking in some doors and busting some heads at the bureaucracies, they were gone. And so you've got to term limit. I am not against term limits per se if, as a part of the constitutional amendment, you take out a top 4 or 5 layers. I haven't decided how far down you need to go of the civil service bureaucracy as well, because the top layers of those need to be rolled over as well, or else they end up running the country. And just like Mr. Boucher's afraid of the EPA when it comes to carbon dioxide, I don't want to have any legislator in the future being outlasted and having the only institutional memory be the bureaucrats. So if you did both, I could probably agree to it.
Okay, well that's what my part of the question was. That if you do an amendment to the amendment of to amend Article 1, Section 2 of the Constitution for House of Representatives and Article 1, Section 3 of the Constitution for Senators. And that, if you amend the Constitution, you get its term limit United States wide. Okay.
But you also have to throw the bureaucracy in. I just don't want anybody to think later I misled them, so I just want to make that
Well,
clear.
you said it.
I'm sorry?
We would support that.
Okay, all right.
You said you support jobs.
Yes,
And
sir.
my next question was, would you say that the exportation / loss of jobs has helped create a weaker economy?
Absolutely.
All right. Now, you said yes to that.
The question was, has the exportation of jobs led to or created a part of the weak economy? And I don't think there's any question about that. And if I could expand a little bit on that, we are currently in a situation.
The rest of the question, then you can answer my question.
All right.
Okay.
I'm happy with that because I get excited about these things and I might go on too long. So thank you.
You already said you would support you getting jobs. So if you're elected, will within 90 days, will you sponsor 2 bills that will create manufacturing and other jobs to America and Southwest Virginia? And you can talk about jobs all you want, but you've got to get the damn bills in Congress to get Congress to pass the bill to get anything done.
That's a reasonable request, yes. In 90 days, introduce it. Restate it for everybody so they know
Well,
exactly.
90 days in there, if you ain't got nothing done in 90 days, everybody go right
I don't know if we get it passed, but I'll get, the question was, would I get 2 bills introduced that would help bring jobs out of Southwest Virginia and the United States? And I think the answer to that is clearly yes. And sometimes folks ask questions where they put so many parameters on you that you say, wait a minute, I don't know if I can get through all the layers of the onion. But that question was very simply put, and the answer is yes.
Okay, the last part of it is, if you're elected, I hope you will never forget that the people living west of the Roanoke-Salem area are Virginians, and we are proud, patriotic Americans. All of us.
And I'll let you in to do that. He said if I forgot that, he'd bring a group of veterans up there to put a boot on I'll rephrase it to derriere. And I'll gladly let you in. Look, I've spent my whole life in Southwest Virginia. It is true, I live in Salem. My parents moved to Christiansburg. They were originally from Rockbridge County. They happened to be up north, and as I tell folks, it used to be I could get away with hiding it, but now the internet is exposed to me. I was born in Philadelphia. I never lived there, but I was born there. And as I say to folks, I stole this line from John Warner, I wanted to be close to my mother at the time of my birth. And I have to tell you that my folks then moved to Christiansburg. My parents divorced shortly thereafter, and my mother moved to Salem. I've lived there ever since. It's home for me. I don't want to leave Southwest Virginia. I don't want my children to have to leave Southwest Virginia. When I started looking about where I wanted to go to school, I went to school at Emory and Henry. I only applied at one school. When I started looking for a place to be educated for my legal degree, I got the application. I actually filled it out for William and Mary. I got one for UVA, and I got one for Washington and Lee. I got accepted, early acceptance at Washington and Lee, so I never filled out the UVA because I'm a mountain person. I like to be able to see the mountains. So while I may live just west of Roanoke, I understand what it means to be west of Roanoke, and I love Southwest Virginia. And anybody, you can disagree with me on everything else, but anybody who tries to tell you that I don't love Southwest Virginia, I'll be glad to get some of my friends and we'll come put a boot on their hair.
I agree with you, sir. I'll let everybody else have it.
Yes, sir. And then I'll come to you, and then
I want to know how willing you are to shrink the government. For instance, the Securities and Exchange Commission back in the 30s reduced Standard Oil Company because it was too big. What happened? They phased out now that all these companies that went together. I seen it coming. It getting too big. But now they've gotten too big, and they're still getting too big. The Securities and Exchange Commission could have busted them up a long time ago, but it didn't do the job. Why create more legislation for a bureaucracy that doesn't do their job? Number two, the government's interfering with the market systems. You can watch the precious metals. Silver goes up to $21, crashes to 17 when they let go of a bunch of it and flood the market. They cause the crash to the silver go down. They wait for it to creep back up and start rebuying, or they do it again. They're controlling the price of the metals. One thing, and that's not the only thing. Is it against the law for them to interfere in our markets? I want to see a free market. If it wants to crash, let it crash. I don't want the government's hand in it. Well, any shape or form. The Federal Communication Commission, all of it has to be done. There's an emergency situation, and the SEC, through this little thing, it's a monthly test. You hear these little beeps come on the air, said if there's an international emergency, you've been instructed for determined. That's where they can take over the communications, right there. I think that's coming if somebody doesn't do something. I want government shrunk, and I want your promise that if I give you my vote, that you will be willing to go up there and do everything within your power to shrink the government over jobs and everything else. Job to take care of itself if the country works right.
There was a whole lot of stuff in there. The base question was, am I willing to shrink government? The answer is yes. And I give you my word that as your congressman, I will fight to shrink government. There are a lot of places we can have agreement on where and how. It's not going to be easy. As I said before, the more cash you give the government, the more the government wants to spend. And it is also true that it is hard to get rid of bureaucracy once you have it. But I am dedicated to getting rid of some of that bureaucracy and shrinking our government. Yes, sir.
My name is Earl Floyd. I'm the county troublemaker. Here in Smith County.
I hope there's more than one in Smith County.
Well, Bill was the other one.
Oh, okay.
Here in Smith County, we've got a real terrible problem. And I won't go too much in detail with that. We have corruption in our government. We're losing jobs. We've lost jobs. 3,000 of our citizens have to leave Smith County every day trying to find work. And the governing body is in terrible shape, and that's why we party hopefully we'll be able to correct that problem before too long. But as you look around, you see a lot of gray hair, some bald heads. We are the generation that right now are getting scared to death because they're going to take from Social Security and fund this health care thing, for example, that's what I'm hearing, to support people who have never paid a tax or are illegal in the country, and we're going to suffer for it. My question to you is, if I vote for you, and I will, and you get